impossible to answer for now. But the pandemic has brought many inspiring stories of the power of humanity to rise up from these difficulties to help the vulnerable and those who have less in life. Who are these people willing to be heroes in their own ways? We discuss in this episode of The Chiefs. Welcome to this special edition of the Chiefs. We're still under quarantine. I'm here in Quezon City. With me right now is Ami Pamintuan of the Philippine Star. Later, we will be joined by our colleague, of course, Ed Lingao of One News. Good afternoon, Ami. Saan ka ba nakakulong ngayon?
Nasa bahay pa ako, but I will be going to the office later in the afternoon. I'm monitoring.
Okay, tuloy-tuloy. Tuloy-tuloy lang ang Philippine Star.
Tuloy-tuloy ang Philippine Star, no vacation except during Holy Week, 2 days.
Ami, ano bang binabantayan natin yan? What are we expecting by way of the news?
Well, I'm following up tong pagtatalo ng Department of Health and the City Government of Marikina. It's interesting, no? Kasi nagmamadali ang Marikina, nabuksan na yung kanyang testing center for COVID at nag-warning naman ng Department of Health, you're not yet ready. Why don't you wait a little while at baka mapahamak daw yung constituent nila. I don't know what, maybe our guest can enlighten us on this.
But before we get to our guest, and you're right, our guest would have a lot of insights for us. But I see that Bok Ed Lingao is joining us already from Mandaluyong. Bok.
Hello. I'm in the newsroom. Just an hour ago, natapos yung briefing ng IATF. So some new elements into the mixture there from Carlo Nograles, yung Cabinet Secretary.
Yeah, new elements like what?
For example, yung report na sinabit ng Pangulo nung Monday dun sa Kongreso, medyo nagdetalye ng kaunti si CABSEC Nograles. So, although we still have quite a number of questions dun sa mga numbers na nilabas ni CABSEC as well as ng Pangulo dun sa kanyang report sa Congress, pero generally itong lumalabas, ang sinasabi ng Malacanang, they've already disbursed funds to 3.7 million families as part of yung social amelioration program, yung SAP, 3.7 million families. And supposedly that accounts for around 72% already of the targeted disbursements or beneficiaries. I see some questions being raised then kasi if you look at the numbers, 3.7 million is not even 25% or not even one quarter of yung target 18 million beneficiaries ng Bayanihan Act. But yet, they're saying it's already 72% distributed.
Yeah.
So
Either way, you're going to have... that's right. Either way, you're going to have problems. On the one hand, you might not be hitting all the beneficiaries. On the other hand, mauubos ang pera and then we're going to be back where we were a few weeks ago.
And yun nga, they're saying it's 72% complete, but if it's that much complete, how come we're not even halfway through with the beneficiaries?
Yeah. Okay, anyway.
Yung documentation na nagkakaproblema.
Not sure. Hindi naman dinetalye masyado ni CABSEC Nograles. Actually, when they made the announcement, it was more out of yung stating their accomplishments that by the end of the week they would have completed their disbursements of the social amelioration fund.
Okay.
And it's already of course, it's already Wednesday.
This certainly sounds like something for an entire episode. I'm sure we'll be diving deeper into that as the week progresses. But for now, Ami was talking about this tension between innovations at the local level as well as the standards of national government for safety and accuracy. Let's bring in an expert. We are joined in this discussion by pathologist Dr. Red Mendoza, Head of Innovations and E-Learning at St. Luke's College of Medicine. Good afternoon, Dr. Mendoza.
Good afternoon din po sa inyong lahat.
Hi, Doc Red, ako ulit.
Ako, Sir Ed, ako,
Yeah,
nagbabalik po ako.
Doc, before we get into any contentions or any issues, your personal assessment first on how things are going, both on the macro level as well as on the level on the ground, as you're seeing it with our frontliners in the hospitals.
On the macro level, I think we're still on the catch-up phase. No? Mag-start pa lang tayo ng catch-up natin sa testing. So, ang dami nating mga missed cases that we need to know at saka ma-plug natin yung mga leak ng mga cases. So, pag nagsimula na ang ating targeted mass testing, dun pa lang natin mahahanap siguro yung mga nawawalang kaso at may i-impose natin sila properly sa quarantine. On the level of naman ng mga hospitals, it seems like although nag-close paminsan-minsan ng mga private hospitals, our public hospitals are still capable of handling cases, which is good news. Na posible dahil sa ating quarantine, community quarantine, nag-slow down ang ating mga kaso. Kaya hanggang ngayon, meron pa tayong available bed spaces. And also, nagdagdag din naman ng capacity ang ating national government by designating COVID hospitals. But of course, this is at the cost of other patients na kailangan munang palabasin para makapag-produce ng extra bed for COVID.
Doc, I'm just curious, ano sinasabi niyo sa mga kaibigan niyo, lalo na yung mga ma-comment niyo na kaibigan sa social media, sa Facebook? I think we all have the same experiences. On the one hand, people are saying, oh, rapid testing, galingan natin ng testing. At the same time, pagka nakita nila tumataas yung numbers, oh, ayan na nga, sinasabi ko, tumataas ang numbers. What do you say to your friends to contextualize all of these numbers coming at us?
Salamat po sa tanong na yan. No? So, gusto kong warningan na ang mga taong bayan na pag nagsimula po ang ating mass testing na huwag magpapanik na tataas talaga ang ating mga kaso. At yan po ay mabuti na malaman natin kung anong talagang tunay nating kaso kesa sa tayo ay nagtatago sa dilim, hindi natin alam. No? So, pabayaan nating madiscover lahat ng kaso at yan ay isang paraan para mapigil natin ang pandemya dahil pag nakikita natin ang mga kaso, ma-identify natin ang mga close contact nila and at the same time, maka-quarantine natin sila. So, expect the numbers to rise, pero meron pong isang magandang effect po yan. Babagsak po ang ating mortality rate kasi mahahanap natin yung mga tao na asymptomatic o hindi masyadong grabe na nagre-recover. Madami po tayong ganyan na ang mga Pinoy ay takot magpa-ospital, hindi na yan nakikita. So pag nagkaroon tayo ng mass testing, targeted mass testing, posibleng mahanap natin yan, tataas ang ating total number pero ang mortality rate natin ay mag-i-improve. The recovery rate natin tataas din po.
Doc, lilinawin ko lang, because there's a lot of talk about mass testing. Simula daw kahapon yung Quezon City and Manila. But in fact, the mayor of Manila told us yesterday na matagal na sila actually nagte-testing, mga 1,000 yata kaya na nila. Or several hundreds. Anyway, ano bang pagkakaiba ng, are we actually doing mass testing or targeted? Ano ba talaga
Okay, tama po yung inyong paglilinaw, ma'am. Ma'am, ini ang po natin, ang ginagawa natin or ang planong gawin ng gobyerno ay targeted testing, no? Yun yung expanded testing kasama yung mga close contacts ng ating mga confirmed cases. Pero dahil sa kakulangan pa rin ng ating test, ayun ay ipa-prioritize pa rin yung mga may sintomas kesa sa dun sa wala. So given the chance na meron tayong 10 test, ibibigay natin yun lahat doon sa may sintomas kesa sa mga walang sintomas. Pero pagdating ng panahon, maka-catch up natin when we expand our testing capability na masosoak up na natin yung symptomatic, pati yung asymptomatic contacts, maaabot na natin. But we need to scale up by a multitude of 2 or 3. Aabot tayo dapat ng mga 10, 20, 30,000 a day po. Bago natin makuha yung mga asymptomatic o magkaroon tayo ng space for asymptomatics.
So we're not actually actual mass test. I'm thinking of mass testing in the scale of countries like Korea or Iceland. Napakaliit lang ng population ng Iceland, of course. Or Taiwan. Wala tayo doon, hindi pa yun ang
hindi pa po. Ang Iceland po ay nagkaroon pa sila ng study kasi gusto nilang malaman kung ilan na sa kanila ang mga ilan na sa kanila ang na-infect para makita nilang herd immunity, 10% ng population nila ay na-test na ng Iceland. Meron voluntary na mga walang sintomas ay pupunta sa testing center para magpa-test para makita nila kung ilan sa population nila ang tinamaan na ng COVID-19. Sa atin, malayo pa po tayo doon.
But look, what's a good number to work with? You have 108 or 110 million Filipinos. How many percent of those should we test eventually to get a good grasp of how bad the situation is?
Ang sinasabi mo yata na dyan, Sir Ed, ay yung epidemiological testing, no,
Opo.
para malaman natin. Wala pa tayong clear number dyan. Ang problema kasi natin ay hindi natin alam kung nasan tayo sa phase ng pandemic. Malalaman actually natin yan sa mass testing. Pero ang sinasabi, ang isang kicker dito, isang panggulo sa ating finding ay hindi natin alam kung pagka tayo nagkasakit ay magiging immune na tayo sa COVID-19. Dahil yan, ay kaya natin gustong malaman yan kung tayo ay nagkasakit na o hindi. Kung tayo nagkasakit na, pwede na tayong bumalik sa trabaho. At tayo ay pwede nang mag-resume ng per normal. No? Halimbawa, nagkasakit na ako. Pag-release ng April 30, pwede na akong pumasok sa trabaho at sabihin ko sa boss ko, hindi na ako magkakasakit. Tapos na
Because you
ako.
have
Kaya
antibodies.
na-test na ako. Oo, na-test na ako. Ang problema natin, may mga findings na mga taong nagkasakit na ay magkakasakit ulit. So mahirap alamin, may mga ano na tayo evidence na lumalabas na sa Korea at saka dati sa Wuhan na mga taong na-discharge nila ay bumabalik dahil may sakit ulit or nagpa-positive ulit. So magandang aralin yan, pero yung short answer to your question, wala pa tayong power size kung paano natin isa-sample yung epidemiology kasi kailangan nating alam yung prevalence ng ating sakit. Hindi pa natin alam yung prevalence noon kaya mahirap i-test ang population at this stage. Dadating po tayo
So,
doon.
dito ko lang yung sinasabi niyo, Doc, when you say na nagkakasakit sila ulit, does that mean na nag-evolve yung virus or dahil, the antibodies are not strong enough to prevent a second recurrence?
Iyan yung isang phenomenon na pinag-aaralan nila. Ang isang tanong dyan, yan ba ay gumaling na sila tapos na-infection ulit? Ang ibig sabihin, yung antibodies nila ay hindi magaling? O yan ba ay pagkagaling mo ay may natira kang virus na biglang babalik, na mabubuhay ulit? May mga virus po kasing ganyan na bumabalik. So, pinag-aaralan yan ng South Korea. They have 111 cases na pinag-aaralan nila. And WHO is joining them kasi malaki ang implication nito kung tayo ba ay makakapag-release ng quarantine. Kasi kaya tayo nag-herd immunity yung pinapabagal natin, bayaan mong mahawa yung mga taong malalakas ang immune system, pagkatapos ay pwede na tayong mag-release ng quarantine kasi madami na sa atin ang nagkaroon. Ang problema natin, kung magkakaroon ulit tayo, mahirap tayong mag-release ng quarantine, no? Ibig sabihin, pabalik-balik yan. Opo. At ang isang implication niyan sa bakuna po. Ang bakuna ba na ibibigay sa atin ay makakapagbigay ng antibodies na protective.
Doc, dun sa question on the epidemiology, and we need that base number, no? We need that a good idea of gaano karami ang nai-infection. I just recall the other day, ang guest namin is Presidential Envoy on Public Health, Dr. Susie Pineda Mercado. And she was saying that in the meantime, na wala pa tayong real-time testing and we're waiting for mass testing, she's saying maybe one way to arrive at a conservative number is to look at the hospitalization rate. And then you apply what we're seeing, that 20% of people will develop serious symptoms. Now, if you take that, I don't mean to represent what Susie was saying if I'm wrong here, but I think her point was, if you take the hospitalization numbers right now as a proxy, and you assume that if you're exhibiting serious symptoms consistent with COVID, that you are positive for COVID, multiply that by 5 using the 20% rate, then you arrive at a conservative good figure to work on. Does that make sense to you?
Hindi lang po 'yan ang posibilidad. Mas kasi ang medyo nakakapagtanong diyan ay tama ba yung times 5 na gagawin natin? Is the hospitalization rate times 20% sa Pilipinas? Kasi alam po natin na ang mga Pilipino lacking the social protection hindi agad pupunta sa ospital maliban kung grabe na. At posibleng namamatay sila na hindi natin natatrack. Ang isang kung ganyan po yung sistema ni Ma'am Susie, and it's a good it's a good viable system siguro in the absence of anything better, ay yung mortality rate. Alam natin na ang mortality rate ng COVID-19 ay around 4-5%. So kung 4-5% yan, i-multiply natin ang mortality rate natin na 335 times 20. And we have how many? 35 times 20 is 6,700 na natatrack. So ngayon tayo ay nasa 5,000. So posibleng ma-catch up na natin, yun yung ating target.
Doc, napakalaking problema yung kwento nyo na bumabalik yung gumaling na. Well, first of all, merong mga nagtatesting ng plasma transfusion. From those who have recovered, paano yung mga nagbabalak na mag-lift ng quarantine dahil sasabihin nila flatten na yung curve.
Ang lilinawin ko po na yung sinabi ko na phenomenon na nare-reinfect ay well-documented pa lang sa South Korea dahil ahead sila sa curve, so hindi natin pa masabi talaga kung bumabalik. Pero ang standard viral disease natin, dapat meron tayong immunity. At ngayon, babalik na din ko yung proposal na halip na tayo ay magbigay ng plasma para gumaling, pwede nating magbigay tayo ng plasma, tingnan natin kung makakagaling siya. Kung makakagaling yung plasma natin sa mga severe cases, ibig sabihin, ang antibodies natin ay neutralizing. So, pwede mong gawin siyang study kung na implication nun, kung gagaling ang mga tao sa plasma na ibigay mo, ay ibig sabihin, effective yung antibodies natin.
Okay, Doc, kanina gusto ko lang balikan. We started talking about these initiatives on the local levels and on many levels of agencies to try to innovate and even try to be ahead in the testing. Talk to, as we said kanina, the tension between, on the one hand, the initiatives of various officials, on the other hand, the standards of the national government to make sure that everything is not only accurate but also safe.
So ang tingin ko dyan ay dapat ay una-una ay congratulate natin ang mga local government na talaga naman nagpupursige na magkaroon ng testing para sa kanilang mga constituency. Ayan ay matagal nang nangunguna dyan ang Marikina na sa kasalukuyan hanggang ngayon ay hindi po sila na aaprubahan, no? Dapat din maintindihan natin na ang concern ng national government ay siguraduhin na yung laboratorio nila ay safe at saka accurate. No, yung accuracy naman yan, madali yan dahil yung accuracy niyan ay through the standard operating procedure achieve yung natural accuracy ng test na ginagamit. Yung safety kasi ang issue kasi posibleng managot ang DOH pag ang laboratorio magkasakit yung mga medtech. So
Doc, kung tatanungin kayo, wala yata si Doc.
Nawala nga
yes,
audio.
ma'am. Ano po yun?
Yan.
Ano po
Wala
yun?
yata. Okay.
Wala, hindi. Tatanungin ko na lang kasi nga, naumpisahan na natin kanina yan. Yung hindi naman pag-aaway. Argument between the Marikina government and the Department of Health na sinasabi ni Mayor Chodoro ng Marikina, itutuloy na nila ngayong Friday. Whether or not they get permit from the DOH kasi ang bagal-bagal daw ng permit from the DOH. Sa tingin niyo, sabi ng Marikina, sobra daw stringent yung requirements na binibigay sa kanila ng DOH. And they are pressed for time. Their constituents cannot wait for this long period of waiting for results from the RITM. Dahil wala yatang sariling testing center pang Marikina, hindi ka pareho ng ibang local government na sinasabi ng DOH, magkayak na lang kayo sa hospital. Yung patingin nyo, kailangan ba tuloy ng Marikina? Mas kung itutuloy ng Marikina
ang sorry. Yan, yung akin pong paningin dyan ay dapat maging collaborative ang Marikina sa DOH. Pero ang tingin ko, sabi ng DOH, sa estimate nila, 80 to 90% na ang Marikina. Kasi matagal na naman talaga nagpre-prepare ang Marikina eh. 2 building na yung napag-usapan nila. Galing sa kanilang City Hall, ililipat na sa isang 2-story building. I think that's more than sufficient. Siguro kailangan na lamang ay mga kaunting mga items sa checklist, no? So, kung ang target ng Marikina ay 5 sa Friday, palagay ko kung magtutulungan ang DOH at ang Marikina, kaya nilang itawid yon by Friday, masimulan nila yung testing, lalo na kung ang mga kakulangan lang naman ay equipment, no? Usually, ang mga mahirap diyang i-procure ay ang biohazard cabinet, siguraduhin ang exhaust ay may filter, kasi dapat yan negative pressure yung room, no, na pinagte-testingan. So, yun lang naman yung mga mahihirap at palagay ko lahat kaya nang i-provide ng Marikina. So, sana puntahan ng DOH at sabi naman ng DOH, pinuntahan nila, tutukan ng DOH para ma-resolve yung impasse na ito. Kasi sayang isang LGU ang talagang enthusiastic na mag-test magandang example yan. Pag gumana yan, ang ibang LGU rin ay magre-request. So, ang mangyayari, decentralized ang testing.
Pero yung sabi ng DOH, hindi pa nag-training yung medtechs ng Marikina doon sa DOH. In fact, ang sabi ng DOH, kung gusto nyo, mag-online training kayo this weekend to take the test on Monday.
Kung yun lang naman ang di gawin na lang, solusyonan nila yung online testing. Pero ang naiisip ko dyan, kung sa simula't simula ay kulang sila noon, hanap muna sila ng medtech na marunong na at na-certify na. Kasi lalo na yung mga technicians or molecular laboratorians sa mga genome center natin o kaya sa National Institutes of Health. Baka pwedeng humiram muna sila nung trained na habang yung kanilang medtech ay nagte-training para tuloy-tuloy na ang test nila. Kung yun lang ang problema nila.
Okay.
Doc, in charge ka sa training ng St. Luke's, right? Although it's about...
Doon po sa estudyante po, sa mga medical students po ng St. Luke's.
So, hindi naman kayo kasama dyan sa grupo ng DOH na nagte-train daw precisely for these types of personnel for the testing of LGUs?
Hindi po ako kasama dyan, opo.
So, you returned to St. Luke's last year to conduct training. Specialized yung training nyo. We're interested in that also.
I returned to the Philippines after staying in Singapore for about 17 years. Pero I joined St. Luke's to spearhead teaching innovations and e-learning. So online yung aking focus. Kaya ngayon tuloy-tuloy naman, mabuti at may pagmalaki namin na tuloy-tuloy ang aming mga klase through online courses. Kumpleto yung mga materyales ng mga estudyante namin. So yung aming calendar ay hindi pa masyadong nadi-disrupt. Tuloy-tuloy lang po kami.
Ano-ano yung mga naituturo online sa ganyang klaseng learning, medical teaching? Ano-anong courses yun? Or ano-anong subject?
Ang mga klase ng subject na madaling ituro po online ay yung mga knowledge-based, no? Yung mga aaralin ng mga bata, papadala namin yung kanilang teaching materials, aaralin nila, tapos bibigyan namin sila ng test. Madali po yan. Ang mga mahihirap po dyan ay yung pagtingin sa pasyente. Kasi ang pagtingin sa pasyente, kailangan mo ng naaamoy mo, nahahawakan mo, naririnig mo yung pasyente. So yun yung mahirap na portion, no? Pero dun po sa pagdating sa knowledge-based, halos lahat ng medical subjects ay very heavy sa knowledge. Yun po yung meron na i-deliver po namin.
Yung robotic surgery na ituturo mo sa ganyan? Robotic surgery?
Merong remote robotic surgery at may kaibigan ako sa University of Pennsylvania, kaklase ko rin sa UP, na talagang magaling, nakakapagturo. Pero sa level po ng estudyante, ng medical students, hindi pa po yan abot.
Interesting.
Doc, if I may, I'll ask you about something else. Yung UP kasi, the UP has this COVID response team eh. Nung isang gabi, naglabas sila ng panibagong study where they were looking at the trends dun sa growth ng infection rate sa Pilipinas. And ang sabi nila, baka by the end of April, may mga 44,000 na tayong infected Filipinos. That's with the ECQ in place, and the ECQ in place until April 30. So that's one. Secondly, yung sabi ng UP study na apparently the ECQ has been relatively effective in the sense na yung what do you call that? Yung doubling rate ng infection from 3 days ngayon ay 6 days na. So in other words, it takes twice as long for the virus to infect, to double the number of people infected. What do you think of that study? And what do you think of what to do after April 30?
Talaga namang ang paningin ko ay ang ating ECQ ay effective, no? Dahil kung ang prediction nila ngayon ay nasa 44,000 na lang at the end of April, mas mababa na yan sa kanilang original prediction. If I'm not mistaken, parang 70,000 yata at the end of April.
Opo.
Baka nagkamali ako doon. Pero basta ang dyan, effective talaga ang ating ECQ, moderately effective. Pwede pa nating i-tighten yan o kaya pwede nating i-modify, no, in the future. Pero ang tingin ko diyan ay talagang nakapagpabagal ang ECQ ng ang ating infection rate. Ngayon, how do we chase that 44,000? Ito yung sinasabi natin na mass testing. Dapat hindi naman natin kailangan i-identify lahat yung 44,000, pero kung sa mathematical modeling ay may 44,000 tayo, dapat talagang maghanap tayo ng kaso nasa na yon. Kasi if you think about it, kung ang ating 44,000 na ang kaso at 5% doon ay namamatay, ay nasa na yung ating 5% no, na 2,000 deaths, no? So hindi balance yung ating figures, kaya dapat malaman natin baka iba yung behavior ng virus sa atin ng konti o iba ang response natin sa virus. Posibleng matagal na tayong nai-infect ng virus na hindi natin alam because that's one of the theories ng ibang bansa na maraming Chinese travelers. Baka maaga pa tayong na-expose na, baka December pa lang na-expose na tayo. Hindi pa lang natin alam.
Oh, that's a new way of looking at it. Sorry, Doc.
Madaming interesting dito sa virus na ito po. Madaming interesting na sa virus na ito na nagaganap po. Madami pa tayong matututunan.
Doc, I'm interested lang naman on your take. Another side to government and for that matter, private sector and multi-sectoral response. Kanina, I was listening to Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles. Bok, you could bear me out if I misheard, but he mentioned something like na capacity na ngayon ng mga what they call that, yung mga centers that can receive patients for isolation. If I heard right, it's like the capacity is like 100,000 plus patients now. But at the same time, yung reporting na nakuha mo is parang, meron na raw 21 na tinanggap dito, meron na raw I'm just curious, Doc, not so much on checking what the actual number is, but your sense of how are our facilities coming along? Alam nating maraming bumuhos, alam natin private sector is getting involved, volunteering not only facilities but even technical capabilities, engineering capabilities to build out these isolation centers, for example, so as not to overburden our hospitals. Triage can be sent that way as well. Ano ba pong sense natin? Do we have enough beds and capacity now to handle more people?
Ang tingin ko kasi yung minention nyo na keyword dyan, isolation, no? Palagay ko sa isolation ay nakapagtayo tayo ng mga malalaking isolation, no? And we have many that can be made ready in a short period of time. Ang World Trade Center, ang Ninoy Aquino, ang Rizal Memorial Stadium, they have been retrofitted to receive isolation. So, ang maganda kasi pag yung sa China, yung experience nila, pag ikaw ay nag-positive pero asymptomatic or very mild symptoms, ina-isolate nila para hindi na makapag-ikot sa kapitbahay at hindi na makapanghawa because they don't trust people not to do that, no? So, at isa yun sa learning points ng Chinese na mine-mention nila. You have to isolate mildly symptomatic or asymptomatic individuals who turn positive until mag-negative sila. But again, that means we need to test asymptomatics, no? May mga centers pa tayo sa Kapastarlak. Ang magandang pag-isipan natin, we should ready the provinces. Habang hindi pa dumadating sa provinces, kung tayo ay effective ang testing and containment, mas mapapabagal pa natin ang pagpunta ng pagkalat ng sakit sa mga provinces. Kasi ang provinces natin, nasa huli pa ng curve, no? Nagsisimula pa lang yung iba.
Okay.
Okay. Doc, very quickly lang, I just wanted to clarify yung protocol for now that we have these centers as well at the back of our minds. Ano ba yung protocols? They just wait for triage from the hospital referral centers to send patients their way, or can the public start looking at these isolation centers as health centers? Pwede bang dumiretso doon yung mga tao or sa ospital pa rin? Ano bang sistema ngayon?
Pasensya na po, hindi po malinaw pa sa akin yung protocol diyan, pero ang alam ko ay ang LGUs ang magse-send sa kanila. Pinaghati-hatian po yan ang World Trade Center kung anong LGU lang yung pwede magpadala sa kanila. At saka so kanya-kanya yan. Iba yung center ng Maynila, iba yung center ng Quezon City, at saka iba yung center ng Las Piñas halimbawa. So, ang alam ko dapat positive sila na mildly symptomatic at most bago sila dalhin doon. Tapos ready naman silang i-deliver sa ospital kapag nagkaroon sila ng moderate respiratory distress pag nahirapan ng huminga. So madali mo ring makuha, nandun lang sila sa iyong under your supervision. Opo.
Doc, we'll just pause for a break, but don't go away. The chiefs will be right back.
Okay.
Welcome back to this special edition of the Chiefs. We're still discussing responses to COVID pandemic, of course, and still with us is pathologist Dr. Red Mendoza, Head of Innovation and Learning at St. Luke's College of Medicine. Dr. Red, before the start of the show, you were talking about our capability for mass testing, ano? And you mentioned that we actually have existing test kits, PCR, not antibody test, not the rapid test, which are available and which are being used for testing for tuberculosis. Could you tell us more about it?
Yeah, I think we're talking about a gene expert. Ang gene expert ay isang machine na pinakalat ng DOH para sa pagtulong sa pagdiagnose ng tuberculosis at saka HIV. Ang aking balita, meron tayong 600 setups o 600 machines na ito sa buong Pilipinas. Ngayon ay ang gene expert company at yung kanilang supplier ay gumawa o umimbento ng FDA-approved na test, approved na siya ng FDA ng Pilipinas at saka ng US para sa testing ng COVID-19. Ito po ay mabilis, 45 minutes may resulta na at ito po ay mura, 1,200 per test doon sa kanilang special pricing for low resource countries kagaya natin.
So it's available and we can actually use it. Alam na ba to ng Department of Health?
Opo, palagay ko po ay pinaplano na ng Department of Health na nila yan, i-utilize kasi nag-order na sila daw ng, ang balita ko, 3,000 tests, no? Tsaka ang Asian Development Bank on behalf of the Philippines, I heard ordered 20,000 tests. So may plano ng gamitin. Ang tanong lang po dyan ay kung i-impose nila yung kanilang stringent requirements on molecular laboratory para dito sa machines na ito o uulitin pa ba nila ang licensing nito? O hindi na. Yung existing license na yung gagamitin, papaltan lang naman ng cartridge. Oo.
Doc, yung gene expert ba, is that an RT-PCR test testing kit or is it yung antibody testing kit?
PCR testing po ito at matter
Okay.
of fact, effective ito sa TB kasi nahahanap niya ang TB kahit kesa sa dun sa nating test na acid fast ang tawag natin na mababa ang sensitivity. So malaking naitulong ng gene expert sa pagkontrol ng ating tuberculosis sa bansa.
So it will
How does it compare to the one that we made locally, yung Manila Health Tech ng NIH, National
Opo.
Institutes of Health?
Ang inimbento po ng National Institutes of Health ay yung traditional RT-PCR na may mga kits at may mga reagents na inihuhulog at tapos babasahin ng makina. Ang mas simple po ang gene expert kasi sa isang cartridge po kumpleto na yung reagent. Tatakbo na po ang apat na specimens pag pinasok mo. Doon yun nga lang, ngayon, ang pagkaalam ko ay 4 na specimens at a time yung pwedeng patakbuhin doon. So kung ito ay nasa probinsya, baka ito'y sapat na kasi 45 minutes, 4 ang matetest mo. Siguro in 1 working day, 8 hours, makaka-40 ka na kaso. Kung gawin mo siya na 24 hours, kayang-kaya mo ang 120 na kaso.
Okay.
Nawala yata. So masasabi natin na gold standard yan, Doc. Yan na yung sinasabi ng DOH na gold standard. Yung test na yan.
Ito po ay ka-level ng gold standard dahil ito po ay PCR din. So, ang PCR ang kinoconsider ng WHO na gold standard. Ito po ang basihan pag gumagawa ng ibang test.
Okay. Doc, kanina medyo pahapyaw na nabanggit mo na kanina when we talked about yung kung kailangan naman ng training. But we're talking about the equipment and the systems. But expound a bit on yung human resource. Are you saying that for all of these tests, whatever it is, we do in fact have the capacity on the human resource level. We have more than enough med techs to handle this properly and effectively.
Ang isang ano lang po diyan, ang isang additional na requirement natin, dahil traditionally ang ating mga medtech ay hindi nagmo-molecular diagnostics, kung ang gagamitin nila ay regular at traditional na PCR, dapat silang mag-attend ng course ng DOH. Pero kung ang gene expert ang gagamitin nila, dahil yun ay steps, apat, kung ano yung alam nila sa din na yun. Kasi sanay na silang magpatakbo ng gene expert machine.
Sorry, Doc, rewind ng konti. Medyo nagka-technical difficulties na tayo, but if you could just repeat what you said over the last 30 seconds or so.
Ulitin ko lang po na doon po sa traditional na na testing natin na RT-PCR, ang mga medtech natin ay baka medyo kailangan dagdag training, which is why DOH has produced the training package, no, na dapat i-attend nila, na pwede naman yatang online. Ngayon, pag doon sa gene expert, sana i-consider.
Oh, I think we lost Doc.
Wala, talagang ayaw talaga marinig yung sasabihin ni Doc sa atin.
Mag-goodbye na tayo, Ed.
Okay.
Well, alam mo, significant is Doc back? Yeah. Significant
Wala
sabi
pa
Doc
nga
kanina na marami yung mild cases eh. When you read back 81% of those infected with COVID-19 exhibit only mild symptoms, and 15% exhibit what you would call severe symptoms, and yung 4% yung critical. So 8 out of 10 infected, baka hindi nila alam na meron silang COVID-19 at hindi sila nagpapa-hospital. So, kaya importante yung testing.
But in the meantime, ang isang takeaway ko sa nabanggit kanina ni Doc, and we've been trying to get this answer for the last few days, and it's still confusing. But with all of these facilities for isolation centers, ano yung protocol? Pero yung nabanggit ni Doc kanina, although he still says he wasn't sure himself, but it made sense that yung triage actually starts at the level of your barangay. Diba? It starts at the level of the LGU. It's the LGU that will then default to sending you, kung mild ang symptoms mo, to the isolation centers. And then from there, you move up to the hospitals kung severe na yung symptoms mo.
Tsaka Bok, ang sabi ni Yusek Vergere yesterday, I think we talked to her over the phone, yung protocol nila ngayon is if you suspect that you may have something, you call the telemedicine hotline of DOH. You consult with the telemedicine doctor ng DOH, of course, so they're in control of this. You talk to that person, you explain the symptoms, what you're experiencing, and so on down the line. And then the doctor over the phone will schedule you with the hospital to give you a physical check over. And after that, saka i-decide kung ikaw ba ay ika-quarantine doon sa isang off-site. Let's call it an off-site facility. For example, kasi yung New Clark City, yung Rizal Memorial Stadium, World Trade Center, mga off-site yan, hindi mga hospital yan eh. So pwede kang ilagay doon kung mild ka lamang o asymptomatic, at hospital ka naman kung severe ka o critical o serious. That way, you're freeing up the hospital for those who really need the medical care ASAP. Versus yung mga may konti lang kubo o kaya walang symptoms at all pero makakahawa, doon ka sa, for example, Rizal Memorial o doon sa World Trade Center. And that also makes sense din eh.
I see. Yeah, that seems much, and now it seems much
Mukhang hindi na makakabalik yata si Dr. Red Mendoza. Siguro, pasalamatan na natin siya. Baka umalis na. Thank you, Dr. Red Mendoza of St. Luke's College of Medicine. We'll just pause for a break, but we'll be back. Don't go away. Meron pa po tayong ibang guests na tungkol naman sa mga contribution nila in this fight against COVID. Don't go away. Ako ba to? Sino ba to?
And welcome back to the Chiefs. We are now on the final stage of our conversation for this episode, and we are now joined by Mr. Elmer Francisco and Ms. Yong Davalos. Mr. Francisco, let's introduce him first. Mr. Francisco is behind an initiative in Makati to provide free transportation for health workers. And Ms. Davalos, meanwhile, is from Fashion for Frontliners. Interesting name. A non-profit group that has provided so far more than 1,000 PPEs and counting for medical frontliners in the battle against COVID-19. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to the Chiefs.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank
Let's
you.
start.
Thank you.
Mr. Francisco, if it's okay with you, let's do ladies first. Yong, tell us first about your group and what it does exactly.
We are actually a group of fashion designers, Manila-based fashion designers who have banded together to make PPE suits, or the personal protective
Mhm.
equipment
Equipment.
suits. And these are actually doctors approved PPE suits. And we are a group of 10 designers, at least 10 Manila fashion designers.
And the suits that you made, you said these were you designed this with the help of doctors, syempre, kasi kailangan may standards yan, medical standards that you have to follow.
Yes, that's correct. We sent samples to PGH. Some of the doctors that we know from there approve the design, and also at the same time check the materials, how it's made, if it's waterproof, if it's water repellent. So
That,
yeah,
that,
we work hand in hand with several
yeah.
doctors as well for this.
We're looking at some images, and these are striking colors. So they're still
Yeah.
fashionable, even though they're being used by doctors. Huh?
Yes, but that's it. That's the reason behind that is the material is really good. It's water repellent, but it
Mhm.
has prints, and the what we have for stocks are in prints. So we're
Mm.
like, okay, why not do it for the doctors as well? And it was actually a good idea because every time these medical frontliners see and wear the suits themselves, they actually feel good about it. They're more
Yeah.
excited to work. They're having fun at work.
Yung,
Oh, we're looking at
Yes, yes.
pictures of money heist themed suits and so on. But Miss Davalos, my question is, what's the potential bottleneck and what are the particular challenges in terms of materials? For example, do you have enough access to standard materials that will pass the grade?
Yes, actually, we are having difficulties now when it comes to materials because, first of all, when there is demand, there's always people trying to take advantage of that. So, from
Mhm.
let's say when we got the fabric initially, it was for 50 pesos per yard. Now it goes up to 80 to 100 pesos per yard. So,
Mm,
I don't know, these are not limited by the DTI. These are not.
mm,
Because
mm,
we are in a crisis right now.
mm,
That's one of the
Mm.
disadvantages of this situation, and also at the
Mhm.
same
Kasi
time,
yung tela is not part of the what they call basic commodities. It's not price controlled, I suppose. Eh.
yeah, exactly. So
yung,
it's never price controlled.
yung where do you source your material? I'm curious about it. Where do you source your material? And are you
We
getting
actually,
funds from the private sector? Where do you get the
um,
funds? These are not cheap materials, no?
yeah,
Are you
these are not cheap. Yes, exactly. We are getting funding from a lot of private donors, especially private individuals who has families, who has private individuals who have people who works as frontliners as well. They're trying to help us raise funds for this. Also, my spouse's Rotary Club of Makati West, they're helping us in getting more funds for this. Um, a lot of private individuals actually are helping with this one.
but the
There's
material,
even, sorry.
you source the materials from the producers themselves or from
I
retail? Kasi Divisoria is closed. Yun ang naisip ko lang na source of materials. Where do you
yeah, that's actually very hard to get fabric from Divisoria right now. We have to know the suppliers ourselves if we want to
mm,
open a certain bodega. If we want to actually call um if we want to have the fabric, we have to negotiate, and it's kind of a black market thing now because
Mm.
there's no regulation. We have to make sure that the fabric is good. We have to make sure it goes through a lot of process first before
Yeah, but
purchasing
Ms.
this
Navalos,
fabric.
is the fabric produced here or is that in fact imported?
It is imported. We don't have a lot of manufacturing, sadly, here in the Philippines. We don't
I
do
see.
a lot of fabric manufacturing here. So
Okay.
the fabrics are either from Taiwan, Korea, and sadly China. So we have to wait for
Mhm.
deliveries for that as
And give
well.
us an idea what kind of fabric you use. Ito ba, is this what you call non-woven or non-porous? I don't know. I mean, I'm not into fabric so much. So what kind of fabrics are you using? Hindi naman siya nylon
Yeah,
or acrylic?
actually, it is nylon.
It is nylon.
What we're using now is material called Taslan nylon. It's the first fabric that we've sent to PGH actually, and they approved it because it's extremely waterproof. It's
Mm-hmm.
actually used for windbreakers originally. So imagine how waterproof that
Taslan.
is.
Okay. Okay,
Yes,
okay,
Mm.
okay.
Taslan.
What
Mm-hmm.
And then
inspired you?
now, sorry?
What inspired you to do this? Was there any particular situation or any particular person who inspired you to start this project?
Well, I actually spearheaded the project because I have a studio of my own, and I saw people are already dying. Like when I heard the news that our frontliners are already dying at this rate, and they still don't have their protective suits. What I did is that I posted online that I'm starting this initiative, and then one by one, friends came in and approached me. All the designers I'm working with approached me, and we just banded together to make it a group and make it official. Because I know I cannot do anything on my own, especially if I'm locked in my house. So uh,
Mm.
this time, this nine other designers that I'm working with are a great help in building the Fashion for Frontliners group.
Okay, Young,
What's
let's
the
Okay,
let's
now.
also bring in Elmer. Elmer
Mm.
Francisco is part of well, no, Elmer Francisco has his own Elmer's Run. Elmer, tell us about Elmer's Run. What is it?
Actually, at first, nung nag-start yung lockdown, the problem was, di ba yung mga public transportation, they were all
Oh.
suspended.
Mm.
So, walang masakyan yung mga frontliners natin and health workers. So, I've been receiving calls and texts kung pwedeng makatulong, kung paano gagawin. So, I made some calls. I asked also DOTR kung paano natin magagawa to. So, what we did, we rolled out some units, actually 4 units initially, to give yung free transportation for
Mhm.
for
Teka, Elmer, pag sabi mong units,
frontliners.
ano tong units? Anong units to? Para siyang bus o minibus. Ano ba yan?
Yes. Oh, actually, ngayon, totoo lang, kami mga manufacturers, we are working hand in hand. Setting aside competition, kung ano yung available na units, we roll them out. So, ginagamit natin. Ang problema naman dito is our cost, yung mga sweldo
Mm.
ng mga drivers, pati fuel, kasi
Mm.
wala naman tayong collection. So, we are getting from our own pockets. So, me and
Elmer, Elmer, konting background lang so people have an idea
yes.
about you as well. Bakit ikaw ang tinatawagan ng mga tao? I mean, nagkulang ng transport. Bakit si Elmer Francisco naisip nila? What were you doing
Oh.
prior to this COVID outbreak?
Yes, actually, alam naman natin, I was interviewed by you guys a year ago. We were building
Francisco
jeepneys since
Motors?
1947, di ba? Yes,
Francisco Motors.
yes,
Francisco
yes.
Motors.
Oh.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yung
Manufacturers of
mga sasakyan,
vehicles. So,
yes, bali,
mga ilang
maybe,
units, Sir Francisco, ang finifield nyo as of this time? Mga
yes.
ilan
Ngayon, apat
Ano
yung
klase?
pinapatakbo natin. Ito yung modernized na Class 2 and Class 3. So, ang Class 2 is yung bench types yung seats. Class 3 yung facing forward.
Mhm.
So, like yung sinabi niyo, we cannot do this on our own. So, I'm fortunate enough to have my brothers sa Rotary Club of Makati West. Kasama yung spouse ni Yong doon. So, nagtutulungan kami. So, para meron tayong maipasweldo sa mga drivers and sa fuel natin. And nag-snowball din to. So meron ding mga ibang mga kasama tayo. Like today, we are doing this with the Office of Civil Defense. We are transporting also yung mga stranded students ng UP Los Baños para makauwi sila to Nueva Ecija and Bulacan, in different places. Then we also service PGH. 24 hours yan yung operations natin. We have 17 drivers na nagtitake shifts. Galing yan sa isang transport cooperative, yung Baclaran Vehicles Transport Service Cooperative. So,
Elmer, can you give us an idea on Can you give us an idea of the need in terms of ilang tao ang tansya mong sinashuttle nyo? And for that matter, sinashuttle ng iba pang mga volunteers on a daily basis. So we have an idea of, teka muna, we talk about frontliners, nakikita natin yung pictures sa social media and so on. But on a daily basis, ano yung volume ng frontliners na sinashuttle ng mga volunteers and ng gobyerno?
Actually, sa count natin, doon lang sa ruta na ginagawa namin, umabot na tayo ng mga 190,000 na mga passengers.
Wow.
Yes. Kasi ano yan ang sasakyan natin, 23-seater ang isa, but we do have because of social distancing. And we disinfect every after trip. So then 24 hours yung operation yan. Para yung mga health workers natin, hindi naman sila yung maglalakad ng mga 2 oras para umuwi. Pati mga frontliners include those yung mga employees sa supermarkets, employees
Minsan nalilimutan natin sila
mga Mercury Drug, mga security guards, and yung mga ibang mga essential services. Ibang sasakyan yung pinapagamit natin sa kanila. Yung for health workers, they're dedicated to hospitals, mga hospital routes. So we've been coordinating closely with many different hospitals. Then we also we're also building yung mga face shields. So this is in cooperation naman with yung isang kaibigan ko na may-ari ng Isuzu Inteco, si Ray Harina. So gumagawa tayo ng mga face shields that are being built by robots. So doon yung ginagawa sa Dr. Yanga College sa Bukawi, Bulacan.
They are built by robots?
So we distribute them to
Originally, saan ginagamit yung machines, yung robots na yon? Originally?
Actually, it's new. It's new, pero yung mga natin, mga materials, donated din, like yung mga acetates, dinonate yan na roll. Then yung iba naman mga filaments, yung para pangkabit dito sa ulo ng face mask, donated din yan from sa Caloocan. Then we bring all of the materials to Bulacan, then we distribute to Makati Medical Center, sa Pasig General Hospital, National Kidney Transplant Institute, RITM. So then aside from that, we also provide itong Elmer Sara na tinatawag ng na Rotary Club of Makati West. Nagbibigay din tayo ng mga food, mga vegan food para sa mga frontliners do sa RITM. Para meron silang lunch, dinner. Di na kailangan lumabas para kumain. Then we also, yung club natin, yung Rotary Club of Makati West, we also provide 25 rooms para dun matulog yung mga health workers natin. Makakabawas din sa mga kailangan natin i-transport. So makakabawas yun sa pagkalat ng disease. So they sleep there. Then
yung free ride nyo, you operate Luzon-wide ba yan? Ilang probinsya yan? Metro Manila and which areas?
Actually, ang main ang regular routes natin, one is Parañaque, next is Taguig, the other one is dedicated to PGH. Dumadaan niya sa iba-ibang ospital hanggang sa Kalayaan Avenue sa Taguig and Makati. Then dumadaan niya sa EDSA, then Manila, then back to PGH again. Then the other one is sa SM San Jose del Monte to SM Fairview. Ruta yan ang nag-assign actually ng route sa amin is DOTR. So kung saan pinakakailangan ang mga, then meron tayong mga police escorts na may isang police na nakasakay or LTO para mapanatili yung natin social distancing, pati yung safety din ng mga tao. Kasi 24 hours nga, meron madaling araw yan.
Tsaka para madali sa checkpoint.
Oo nga.
Yes, madali sa checkpoint.
Okay.
Yes, so.
Kahit kailan.
I want to bring back Miss Davalos. Yung kanina sinabi mo nga yung the difficulties and some tumataas ang presyo. But I was wondering, what's your interface now with government? Now that you're doing this and you are serving an essential sector, have you had opportunity and access to have a dialogue with the necessary government agencies to talk about what you're doing?
Actually, not really, but we're working with doctors rather from PGH, and we haven't had a dialogue between DOH and us because there are so many things that DOH is doing now. And
Hmm.
some of my friends who actually initiated their own projects as well regarding PPE suits, they still haven't had the confirmation up to this day. So if we actually wait for the government or for DOH to actually approve us of this work, then we might not be able to produce our PPE suits right away.
Hmm.
That's the
Hmm.
challenge that we're
No, but
facing.
yeah, but my question is not so much about getting approval, but trying, as you said, yung nabanggit mo nga, yung trying to apply price controls here if this is
Mm.
not yet necessarily, if the materials are not necessarily categorized yet as essential goods. I mean, I was asking I meant on that level. Do you think
Oh,
it
okay.
might help if government will look at this as, oo nga, no, parang baka mahirap nang mag-out of control yung presyo ng raw material for PPEs.
Actually, with that, it's with DTI, and it's really hard to
Hmm.
get in touch with the government sectors right now, especially with our team. Not
Hmm.
just with our team, actually, I've seen posts. A lot of people who are trying to buy these fabrics to do suits for themselves or for other people. Um,
Hmm.
they're just we can just complain, but like we haven't had the chance to actually talk to them to the government agencies like DTI or regulatory boards of some sort. We haven't had that opportunity just yet, but that's a good point. We can actually raise that awareness if someone from our team can actually talk to them regarding the regulation of prices and
Hmm.
this problems that we're actually facing right now.
Okay.
If you had all the materials you need, and what will be your capacity? How many PPEs can you produce? Maybe
Our
in a,
target, yes, sorry. Our target for the PPEs would be 10,000 suits. We've already delivered, I think, almost 2,000 pieces of PPE suits. And our target would be by the end of month, it should be around 10,000. Not end of month, but in 4 weeks' time, we should have at least 8,000 more. So that's a total of 10,000 suits.
that's a lot, huh?
Yes, yes, we're trying to make sure that we'll be able to deliver that since the private sectors and other donors actually pledged for us this amount to do 10,000 suits. So if we'll receive more, we'll probably do a lot more than if we're able to get more materials as well.
Mr. Francisco, what about in your case? Ano-anong problems ang na-encounter nyo? Parang medyo mas madali yung trabaho ninyo because you're getting a lot of cooperation from the government.
Yes, actually ang isang kailangan talaga natin aside kasi dun sa sa mga frontliners and mga health workers natin. Ang hindi natin nakikita, maraming mga na-displaced na mga workers like mga jeepney drivers na nawalan sila ng trabaho. So how are they sustaining their families now? Paano sila nakakuha ng pagkain na okay, yung iba nabibigyan naman ng mga LGUs pero kulang na kulang. Like the whole lockdown, once pa lang nabigyan, yung iba wala pa talaga. So, isang ginagawa rin namin is bibigay tayo ng relief goods na mga bigas, mga canned goods para sa mga drivers na mga na-displace. So, sa atin it's not much it's not much what the government can do for us eh. So, it's kung paano tayo makakatulong on our own capacities. So if we work together, we have proven that time and again, Like what I said, kahit yung ibang mga manufacturers ng mga ng mga PUVs, nagtutulungan kami. So, nagpo-pool kami ng resources kung paano tayo mas makakatulong, matulungan natin mga drivers natin. Maski not personally na sa amin na fleet, lahat ng drivers, basta kaya natin, kailangan natin bigyan. So,
Pero yung
Yeah, Elmer, I think
Elmer, that,
it's a good point, no? Na, and this is precisely why we have people like you and Yong to really highlight that we have some power to help. Then people can take the initiative. But similar pa rin dun sa tanong ko kay Yong on your part. I think even government appreciates that when private citizens step up. But how can government help? Or for that matter, hindi naman sa nangungutya tayo, but are there areas where government can be made more aware, where they're either being helpful or can be more helpful
actually, yung
with
with
regards to
regards
your
sa
initiative?
transport, yeah. Yes, with regards sa pag-transport, kasi I can speak on behalf of what I am doing, which is the transport. Tumatawag din naman ang gobyerno sa atin, humingi rin ng tulong. Like just last week, nagpatulong din yung DSWD na mag-distribute ng mga relief goods nila. So, problema rin nila, the government is not ready for this kind of this kind of pandemic. Like paano nila dadalhan ng relief goods lahat ng tao kung a number of trucks and DSWD is very limited. So, ang nangyayari ngayon is talagang our government is nahihirapan din. So, it's more on how we could help the government rather than what government can do to help us. Kasi ang nakikita ko lang ngayon is, okay, they're helping us in terms of yung mga drivers namin, meron silang mark yung mga vehicles, meron silang mga IDs. So, madali sila nakakadaan sa mga
Are you,
checkpoints. So, tumutulong tayo. Hindi tayo pinapahirapan ng
Mr.
government.
Francisco, are you working on any new initiatives? Kasi mukhang kahit i-lift yung quarantine at the end of the month, meron pa rin mga limited magkakaroon pa rin mga konting restrictions, especially on jeepneys. Are you working on any initiative, or are the drivers recommending anything to you para matulungan din yung magkaroon sila ng hanap buhay?
Yes, actually, like what I mentioned before, actually last year pa to, we created our own fleet operations company. In that way, unlike kung single operator ka, kapag nagkaroon ng ganitong problema, problema ka na. Kasi syempre yung kinikita mo sa isang araw, yun ang yun ang panggastos mo sa bahay, pangtustos mo sa pamilya. Unlike kapag tayo, fleet operations, meron tayong cash reserves na natatawag na kung meron mga ganitong klaseng problema, matutulungan natin yung mga drivers natin. Hindi naman sila yung masyado mahihirapan. But of course, meron ding limit yan. Hindi naman unlimited na resources natin. Of which, doon naman natin kailangan ng tulong din ng gobyerno.
Okay.
I suppose this is a question for both Yong and Elmer. Sa public, if the public can help you in any way, if the public can pitch in any way, how would you suggest that they do this? Anong pwede pang itulong ng publiko sa inyo? Mga gustong mag-donate o tumulong o mag-ambag sa ginagawa ninyo, what's the best way to do it?
Okay, so
for me muna, for us, you can visit our Instagram page at Fashion for Frontliners. All the information, all the questions, if you have any questions, it's all there. Again, it's Fashion for Frontliners on Instagram. You can donate either materials if you have any. You can donate monetary support for the group as well. We just opened our second batch of donations. And if you're interested in helping us create more suits, just go visit our page. Thank you.
Okay, Elmer, ikaw naman.
Okay, for our side, meron akong Facebook page na para dito sa efforts na to. You can follow or like yung page ko, Elmer Francisco sa Facebook. You will see all the details there. And may ginawa rin ng ang PayPal para sa akin. na QR code for this, para yung mga donations mas madali sa mga tao. So we will post it there. Actually, ang nasabi ko nga may isa upcoming sa April 19 sa Sunday. So, ang ginawa ko is be having a fundraiser in lieu of gifts or anything. Yung mga nasa bahay na naka-lockdown na gustong tumulong, na hindi nila alam kung paano tutulong, this is your chance kung paano. So, isa ring reason kung natin nilalabas to is para mas marami pang ma-inspire na tumulong kasi hindi namin kaya. Like what Yong said, we cannot do this alone. Kailangan natin lahat magtulong-tulong. Our resources are limited, di ba? So ngayon, hindi lang naman tayo dito sa Pilipinas, buong mundo to. So we cannot just ask help from another countries. Mas malaking problema nila kaysa sa atin. So we need the help of each and everybody. Diba? Each and every one. So, makikita nyo yung details sa Facebook page ko, sa Elmer Francisco.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maraming salamat sa iyo, Elmer Francisco and Yong
Yes,
Davalos.
Robbie,
Thank you
Ed,
for what you're doing. And
Maraming
we're
salamat.
glad that
Mabuhay
you joined
kayo.
us today.
Maraming
Thank you, sir.
Salamat.
Thank you, ma'am.
Maraming salamat.
Thank
you. Ami, Ed.
Okay, we will just
Salamat.
pause for a break, and when we come back for our last segment, we bring back Dr. Redante. That's the real name of Dr. Red Mendoza, who was with us earlier, pero naputo lang yung linya, but he's back online, so we'll come back with Doc Red Mendoza in a while. Thank you for joining us, and stay with us.
Narinig ko yung pagka-type niya, pagka-type sa inyo. Welcome back to the Chiefs. We are back with Dr. Red Mendoza of St. Luke's College of Medicine. Sorry, nakat off tayo, Dr. Red.
Opo, technical difficulties po.
Oo nga. Dr. Red is a pathologist and I'm curious about that. Medyo pag-usapan natin kung yung tungkol sa mga how we deal with the bodies of fatalities. I know it's a grim topic, but I'm curious about it. Tama ba yung pagka-handle natin na kailangan, is that really a requirement na within 12 hours, dire-diretso sa crematorium, walang funeral? I mean, it's causing a lot of pain for the relatives of COVID fatalities. They cannot even say goodbye. Tama ba yun? Hindi siya
Ah,
pwede.
yan po ay part na ng ating ng ating batas at regulasyon sa pandemic na pag may pandemic or epidemic, ganyan po talaga ang treatment. Ang malungkot lang po talaga dito sa COVID-19, ang isang pinaka masaklap na resulta ng sakit na ito ay hindi mo makikita ang iyong mga kamag-anak sa kanilang huling sandali at sila din ay hindi ka makikita kasi isolated sila until death. And even after death po, pag yan ay proven COVID, talaga pong diretso po yan sa crematorium. Makukuha nyo na lang po ang kanilang abo. Opo.
Pero may mga ibang cases na hindi pa siya confirmed na COVID na idiniretso dun sa mga crematorium.
Sa public health siguro po, kung mataas ang index of suspicion na baka ito ay COVID, ay didiretso nga po yan sa crematorium. Pero ang ang ideal na setting ay dapat ma-diagnose po sila bago pa mamatay. Ang problema, may mga kaso tayong namamatay na nga nang wala pa yung diagnosis. Meron din namang iba na nakatambak pa yung kanilang na naghihintay pa ng magpipick up sa kanila, kagaya nga nung nangyari dati sa East Avenue na hindi naman patong-patong pero meron po silang, yun po ay nilinaw na hindi sila patong-patong pero meron po silang backlog ng mga bangkay doon sa kanilang morgue. Opo.
Paano yung backlog na ganun? Kasi ang sabi ng ibang hospitals, they lack refrigeration facilities. Kailangan siya hermetically sealed ba kapag na meron ng cadavers?
Dapat po sana, ang ideal niyan ay airtight yung kanilang seal kasi we're dealing with the virus. Ang nabalitaan ko sa New York, dahil sa sobrang dami, hindi ma-handle ng kanilang facilities, may mga refrigerated trucks sila na nakaparado sa harap ng ospital. Pwede natin pag-isipan ang ganon, pero mukhang hindi pa naman tayo maabot maliban sa nabalitaan natin sa East Avenue na may lumampas ang kanilang capacity lang to hold ay 5 cadavers on a regular day, umabot sila ng 20.
So, just quickly, pagka nagkaroon ng backlog na ganon, the bottleneck and the ultimate capacity that backs it up starts at the level of the crematorium?
Yung pong siguro dapat yung sa East Avenue ang sasagot, pero yung sa interview na narinig ko sa kanila, ayun ay ang LGU ang mag-identify ng kanilang ng kanilang constituents at sila yung kukuha, yung LGU ang kukuha at sila yung magre-refer sa kanilang accredited na crematoria. Yon. So ang problema doon ay hindi yata wala pa yung ibang resulta at saka posibleng backlog ng crematorium pero mukhang pwede namang isanang ipasa sa iba pa kung backlog ang isang crematorium.
Because there's two things now that you're mentioning there. There's on the one hand, and I don't mean to be judgmental here, but on the one hand, there is the red tape, and there is the matter of protocols on the level of officials, and then there's the actual capacity of crematoriums. Diba? So what you're saying is that we may actually have enough crematoriums and enough capacity on that level, but it would still redound to capacity of local governments.
Opo, kasi parang iba-ibang, yung dun sa pagkaintindi ko dun sa East Avenue ay meron din na LGU na hindi nila alam na kanilang constituent yun eh. So, hanggat hindi malinaw yung mga ganun, mahirap mag-take over, lalo na pinag-uusapan natin ay body, importante sa pamilya.
Ilinawin din natin yun. When you say constituent, you literally mean taga saan yung namatay. You're not talking about nasaan yung ospital.
Hindi po. Yun pong, dahil yan po ay centralized ang kagaya ng PGH, tumatanggap sila kung saan-saan. So, yun ay yung LGU kung saan nanggaling yung pasyente, yun yung dapat din kukuha.
I see.
Doc, let me pull back a bit and ask you something from your point of view as somebody who specializes in pathology and in infectious diseases. Kasi in the last few briefings by Malacanang to the public, yung mga binet briefings na ginagawa ng Pangulo, we've seen quite a lot of congratulatory messages from one cabinet member to the other and so on down the line on how we have so far handled this issue of COVID-19 in this country. Can I ask you that? What from you, well, at least your point of view of how we managed the crisis, beginning in, for example, early February until now? Have we done a good job in handling this crisis?
Okay, I'll just clarify. I'm a pathologist, and and we also had infectious disease laboratories, pero hindi po ako infectious disease specialist na clinician na nag-aaral.
Mhm.
Now, going back to your question, I think it's too early to be self-congratulatory. We don't even know kung nasaan po tayo doon sa curve dahil nga sa sobrang medyo luag ng ating pag-handle noong February 5 to March 5, yung ating missing month, ay hindi natin tuloy mabigyan ng magandang larawan kung nasaan na tayo sa ating pandemya. So, hindi natin alam kung kailan tayo magpipeak, hindi natin alam kung ilan ang tunay na kaso. All we're holding on are mathematical models. But even the mathematical models suggest that we are not even peaking yet, no? Na sabi nga, posibleng umabot ng 44,000 by April 30. Pero kaya mahirap mag-congratulate that we handled the situation very well at this early. Pero of course, everyone's entitled to their opinion, no? Ang tingin ko lang, masyadong maaga pa.
You were talking about the missing month. What exactly was that with the missing month? Ito yung panahon na natenga tayo sa 2 o 3 kaso lamang, and for a while we thought that we were over the bridge.
Yan na nga ang sinasabi ko pag nagsa-self-congratulatory ng masyadong maaga. So, nung pong February 5 ang ating last case ng case number 3 at nung ang ating pong case number 4 ay March 5. During that time, meron tayong case finding at naghanap ng close contacts ang ating DOH na identify nila mahigit 600 pero ang nakausap nila ay mahigit lamang 300. So, mga kalahati. Pero ang tingin ng DOH at that point ay na-control na natin ang sitwasyon, no? At nagpalabas pa nga si DOH Secretary at ibang members ng IATF na we have done a good job and we have everything under control. Tapos biglang sumabog yung mga kaso after March 5. So, doon sa isang buwan na yon, sana ay nakapag-imbak tayo ng test kits, sana ay nakapag-order tayo ng PPE, sana naging mas agresibo tayo sa paghahanap ng mga kaso, dahil kung na-seal off natin yung mga contacts na yon, posibleng hindi ganito kabilis yung pagpasok ng ating diseases, at saka mas handa sana tayo kung meron na tayong test kits, no? We only started ordering test kits nung tumadami na yung ating mga kaso, no? Saka pa lang tayo nag-bump up ng ating mga test kits. So yun yung missing month natin. Having said that, nangyari na yun. So ang importante is to be able to catch up.
Doc, sabi niyo masyadong maaga for self-congratulations. Sa tingin niyo, what's your saying? Nag-uwi ng ating testing capability, quarantine, isolation measure. Sa tingin niyo ba masyadong maaga mag-lift ng quarantine by the end of the month? From what you're seeing now?
Ang nakikita ko po kasi madami masyado pa rin tao sa kalye, ano? At madami pa rin ang mga taong lumalabas, pero kung from the point of view of medicine, baka kailangan nating pagdagdagan pa, pahabain pa ang quarantine. Pero may trade-off po yan talaga. Mga tao natin ay nagugutom, mga walang trabaho. And nabanggit ko dati, it's a delicate balancing act for the IATF. No? Kaya medyo sila, yung kanilang desisyon na yan ay mabigat. Kasi either way, may mga taong magugutom, kaya may mga taong magkakasakit.
May suggestion yung ibang members of the economic team saka mga business groups na selective quarantine daw. Yun lang daw mga high-risk areas ang isasara at dahan-dahan ang palalabasin ng mga communities. Yun, you think will that work?
Meron pong strategy na tinatawag na open-close, no? Tuwing tataas ang number ng kaso, pwede mong shutdown ng isang lugar. That's a modification of our quarantine. Posible po yun, no? Kung sa mga hotspots, pwede nating mapabagal by shutting them down selectively. Pero it is on the background of very good testing capability. Dapat maganda ang testing natin para alam natin kung saan talaga yung hotspot.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, Robbie, anything else before we let Dr. Mendoza go?
Baka may last message si Doc Mendoza sa mga tao, kapwa niya, health worker.
Unang-una ay nagpapasalamat ako talaga sa mga sakripisyo ng lahat ng Pilipino. Hindi lang ang health workers, pati ang mga frontline na kasama na dyan ang mga nag-i-stock ng ating mga pagkain. At saka mga nagmamaneho at nagdi-deliver ng ating mga pagkain kapag nag-o-order tayo, at saka yung mga nagmamaneho ng ating health workers. No? Pero ang darating, ang aking message lang po sa inyo ay pagdating ng mass testing, wag po tayong magugulat na dadami ang ating kaso. It doesn't mean nag-fail ang ating quarantine. Ito po ay reflection na naghahabol tayo ng ating cases. So mas mabuti po, gaya ng sinabi ko dati, mas mabuti na kita natin ang kalaban kesa na tayo ay masayang-masaya, yung pala ang kalaban ay kumakalat sa atin.
Dok, teka, pahabol din ako ng tanong bago ko namin bitawan. Kasi, di ba, ang sabi-sabi ng marami, ang mga Pilipino kasi sanay sa mikrobyo. So, is there any sort of truth to that na mas malaki, mas matindi ang resistensya natin because of our surroundings and because of the way we live our lives that we could be more resistant than other people or other countries? Is there anything to that?
Because this is a novel virus, bago, lahat tayo pantay-pantay, buong mundo ay walang resistensya po dito. So from the point of view of science, yan. Ang isang pinag-aaralan nila ay baka yung ating BCG na ibinibigay na bakuna doon sa pagbata para sa TB, pwedeng ma-modify daw niya ng immune system natin, hindi directly to fight the virus, but we have a generally increased immune response. So hindi pa, pinag-aaralan pa rin po yan. Posible, pero ang gaya na sinabi ko, hindi tayo ligtas dito sa virus na ito. Hand washing, mask, social distancing, kailangan sundin po natin yon.
Okay. Dr. Redante Mendoza, maraming salamat po for joining us and thank you very much for your insights. Marami po kami nakuha sa inyo ngayon. Thank you.
Maraming salamat po.
Thank you.
And that will be all for this special edition of the Chief. What we'll discuss here, we'll keep the conversation going. I'm Ed Lingao, One News.
I'm Ani Paminton of the Philippine Star.
I'm Robbie Alampay, and we are One News.